This is how I study tubular secretion. I talked about reabsorption. Tubular secretion is reabsorption in reverse. Selected waste move from peritubular capillaries into the filtrate, eliminates certain waste like urea, metabolized drugs, rids of the body of excess potassium. Aldosterone helps secrete potassium, like as stated before. And the main one is it controls blood pH by altering amounts of hydrogen or bicarbonate in the urine. Intercalated cells in the DCT control urine pH. Regulation of urine concentration and volume. Osmolality, number of solute particles in 1 kilogram of H2O, reflects ability of fluid to cause osmosis. Osmolality of body fluids expressed in milliosmoles. In the kidney's plasma at 300 milliosmoles by altering water loss in urine. Osmolality is similar to osmolarity, as you can see down here. Let me zoom in. Osmolarity is all about concentration, and osmolality is the number of solute particles in 1 kilogram of H2O. Again, this diagram here, we have two diagrams here, one of a salt shaker, and this is the salt container. And like stated, the kidney plasma is at about, the cortex is at about 300 milliosmoles. There we go. And the medulla is at 1200 osmol. Now let's say these two cups of water are 1 kilogram of H2O. Salt shaker over here and the salt container over here. Osmolarity, concentration of salt, is high over here. Osmolality, number of solute particles in 1 kilogram of H2O, is also higher over here. Like I stated earlier, the cortex is at 300 and the medulla is at 1200. And remember, the urine is more concentrated at the juxtamedullary nephron here because it is down by the medulla. So that's why it is more concentrated. Countercurrent mechanism occurs when fluid flows in opposite directions in the two adjacent segments of the same tube, like the ascending and descending limbs of the loop of Henle. As you can see, the descending limb, only H2O can leave, and the ascending one is only solutes can leave. Filtrate flow in the loop of Henle, countercurrent multiplier, creates the maintains and maintains an osmotic gradient in the medulla, allow the kidneys to vary urine concentration. Like I said earlier, descending limb is freely permeable to H2O. Filtrate osmolality increases to 1200 milliosmol. Ascending limb is impermeable to H2O, selectively permeable to solutes. Sodium and chloride are actively reabsorbed here in the ascending limb. Filtrate osmolality decreases to 100 milliosmol. Formation of dilute urine. ADH controls water permeability in the CD. Okay? In the absence of ADH, dilute filtrate continues into the renal pelvis as dilute urine. Results in increased water loss. If you remember ADH, basically sodium leaves, right? And now when sodium leaves, water follows sodium. That's what ADH and aldosterone does. Alright, now, like I said, ADH controls water permeability in the CD, and it results in increased water loss. Okay, so this diagram here, as you can see, the red lines are the active transport and the blue lines are the passive transport. Here we have the descending limb of loop of Henle where water is reabsorbed here, okay? Water gets reabsorbed here, 300, right here at 6, and again at 9, 1200. And again over here, the solute gets exits. And then it goes to the collecting duct. Okay, now there's a large volume of dilute urine here. Now, formation of concentrated urine, ADH, triggers reabsorption of H2O in the collecting duct. Final urine concentration depends on the medullary osmotic gradient. In the presence of ADH, up to 99% of H2O infiltrate is reabsorbed. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the same exact picture, right? We have the descending loop of Henle down here. We have H2O being reabsorbed, and then we get to the tip here where it's at 1200. Over here, the ascending, we have the solute is reabsorbed. We have the distal convoluted tubule, and then the collecting duct over here. Now, with the maximal ADH, when ADH is present, okay, reabsorption of H2O happens in the collecting duct. This is the collecting duct right here. Let me zoom in. Okay, so this is the collecting duct right here, and we have H2O being reabsorbed, right? And of course, it gets reabsorbed until we have the same number right here of osmolality, okay? Of course, small volume of concentrated urine only is released. So we have micturition here, urination or voiding. Distension of bladder activates stretch receptors causing voiding reflex. 3 simultaneous events happen here. Contraction of detrusor muscle by ANS. Opening of internal urethral sphincter by ANS again. Opening of external urethral sphincter by somatic nervous system. Gives voluntary control.